Welcome to sunny side of San Diego.
It's the greatest city in the history of mankind. It's a fact.
Two local San Diegans that look at obstacles as an opportunity for growth.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying.
Michael Carini is the Acrylic Alchemist.
You can call me CEO
of Carini Arts. And Vicente, Vinnie, Enriquez.
No one could do it better.
The team lead of the Enriquez group.
Ride with us.
Well, hi everyone. Welcome to sunny side of San Diego. If you're watching us live, you're watching us on YouTube. If you're listening to us, it's probably a couple weeks out, and be curious kind of where everything sits. I mean, this one's all about changes with COVID. If you're watching us on a YouTube channel, you'll know that we have an intro. Everyone's walking around, no mask. That's going to be one change that's going to probably be for a little while. Is people wearing masks out in public. I would think probably for another maybe 8 months, year. I don't know. What do you think?
Depends on what state you're in. Some states aren't even doing it anymore.
Oh, not wearing a mask?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. What states?
That I cannot tell you.
Oh, wow. That's yeah. I mean, we'll see how it all progresses. Have you got your shot?
No.
Are you gonna get a shot?
I do not intend to.
No? Oh, wow. Why?
I just am not the type of person. I take vitamins. I take care of my health. I manage my own health. I don't like taking medications of any sort. I've gone through my life where I took things like that. I saw the way that they affected me, and I found that they did affect me. And I completely understand anybody that wants to and respect their choice, and I don't think that it's a bad idea. I just find that for me personally, it's not the choice for me.
Yeah, I mean that's well, we live in a free country. Yeah, I got my first shot. It'll be interesting to see what they do for travel and things like that, of how they're going to enforce. Because I think I'm going to Hawaii in a couple months. And I think we have to have a negative test before we head out to Hawaii. So I'll be curious to see if you're vaccinated, if that still plays out, or do you still have to get the negative test before you travel and things like that? What's going to happen over the next couple of months? Because there's going to be, I would assume there's going to be stuff that's going to happen if you're not vaccinated over the next 6 months, a year, that they might try to push people into getting vaccinated, or maybe they'll just let it fizzle out over time. I don't know.
I've heard speculation that for traveling, they're going to try to enforce something where in order to travel that you may need to do it. Now, this was purely speculation, but I could see them doing that. So I could see myself being pushed into a corner where I'm going to have to do it. Now, when I say that I'm not going to do it, I'm also the type of person that hasn't been to the doctor. And since my last doctor retired, probably in like 2015, 2016, I don't go to the doctor. Is that the smart thing to do? I don't know, but I manage my health in the ways that I manage my health. I found what works for me, what minimizes my anxiety and my stress, and what makes me feel better. And I've noticed correlations of what make me feel better and what don't. But I think that at some point, yeah, in order to travel, they're going to require it. And so I'm probably going to have to at some point, whether I want to or another. I think that they're going to try to force people to do it, and they're going to get them to do it one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, what they try to do and how they try to push it. Yeah. So anyways, we're slowly opening up. If you're listening to the podcast live, I think we're in the purple tier now, right?
Red and purple were bad, so I don't think we're in either of those, or maybe we are. I don't know.
We're in the orange tier. I don't know, but we're slowly opening up. Where now you can actually have, for restaurants, I think it's like 25% occupancy. Allowing people into Petco Park for opening day, which is going to be on Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see us just slowly allowing people back in California, back in San Diego, back into places, and if that will have any effect to the spread. But I think for the majority of people, especially people that have higher cases or higher probability of getting really sick, are getting vaccinated for the most part, it seems like.
I don't know how some of these places are surviving, though, with 25% capacity. I know that there were places that with subsidizations and a little bit of help we're able to make it through this period. I think that the ramifications are going to really carry over a long period of time, though. And I'm curious to see what businesses continue to survive with these limited capacity things, being how it's been a year. Just driving down the street the other day, I was looking around and seeing how many businesses have closed, including big businesses, but just so many places shut down. And some of these places that will never reopen, entire companies that just don't exist anymore because they operated off of a model that just can't exist in the world that we live in, like Soup Plantation. That was one that kind of made me sad.
They shut the doors?
Oh, they shut up. They're done. All of them gone.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, self-serve food places are going to be farther and farther. I know me and my fiance, we like to do froyo, and a lot of the frozen yogurt places and I know it's a small thing, but a lot of frozen yogurt places don't allow you to actually self-serve yourself. There is one place in Eastlake where we go where they allow you to do it. You have to wear gloves and everything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how many self-serve places like that can even come around, or what's going to be the next wave of serving, I guess.
Well, it's interesting too, because even a year later, the enforcement of rules and the rules in place at certain places seem to be almost nonsensical. Like the one-way direction things that require you to go longer routes and circle around and get lost and run across more people than you would if you just went to where you needed to go. It's interesting to see people try to resolve or prevent an issue while really creating more of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard when you're, if it was just me and you and we're trying to figure out, okay, what's the safe way of doing something this weekend, right? What's a safe way of not getting sick, right? Me and you could come with logical idea of how to do it, how to best stay away from people, go to the store, use common sense, things like that. Yet when you're dealing with the masses, right, you kind of almost have to do stuff that seems like nonsensical, seems, stupid, because there's going to be those outliers, those people that are going to say, well, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that? And they're not using common sense. So it's not for, I think, 99% of the people. It's for that 1%.
And it's government mandated too, which is also a scary thing, because anything controlled by the government is going to leave a lot to be desired. And the one thing that I've noticed is the prices of gas and meat and things like that going up. So coming off of a period where so many people were displaced, put out of work, had work cut off, now things cost more. So a lot of people had to dive into their savings, dive into everything that they had. A lot of people were put in situations of maybe running out of resources. And now as we move forward, things cost more. That's going to pose a huge, huge issue for a lot of people. And then we're going to come up on that period too, where the forgiveness on rent and things of that nature is going to end too. And I think that we're going to see a big flux in the homeless situation.
Well, again, it's the one-offs, those rarities that are taking advantage of it. Like, let me ask you a question. When you sneeze, do you cover your mouth?
If I'm around people, yes. I also have a problem that where I'll plug my nose, which you're not supposed to do. So I sneezed right before we came on, and I didn't because my hands were full, but I made sure that I kind of...
respectful, right? Now, you would think that majority of people do that, right?
No, I wouldn't. My expectations for people based on experience are very low.
So, if you basically didn't want to get sneezed on, right, because you would hope, right, I guess, if you're with a group of 5 people, that majority of those people are not going to sneeze on you. Yet, if you're trying to control everyone that you're not getting sneezed on, right, you have to put basically almost stupid rules in place so that one person doesn't go, what are you talking about? Why can't I just sneeze in person? It's not going to affect you. I think that's how you look at when you're dealing with like the government kind of thing.
First thing that comes to mind when you say that is the episode of The Office where Dwight asks everybody to sneeze on him.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like those things right there where you're just like, gosh, man, like, and then you're talking about okay, the moratorium on evictions for tenants and things like that. I mean, I've talked about this before. I have a client right now that he has a property back east. He was in the process of evicting the tenant because the tenant hadn't paid, right? Last January, right? He was waiting it out. He finally had the point to meet with the judge like a couple days after this moratorium on eviction started, right? And now the tenant's living there rent free. It's not COVID related, but he's living there rent free basically for a year and now until whenever the actual moratorium goes away. So, I mean, it's not like everyone, people try, I think, to, if they have the ability to pay their rent, do like that, but you have those ones off, those people that take advantage of the situation. I mean, I've heard other people that have had similar situations like that where, but then you hear other people, right, that really need it. They lost their job, they least, so you try to basically make these blanket statements for everyone, yet there's going to be someone that takes advantage of it on the positive. I mean, and I guess for them, for the negative, for other people. So I think that's the difficult part of figuring out how to make it beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, it is tough, and it's understandable that, yeah, and in creating and enforcing rules that there are going to be people that still get left behind. And that's, I think, one of the difficulties is, and I was thinking about this yesterday, is that it's created with the intent of protecting the majority. And what I was thinking about the other day was how I watched a roller coaster of my health, nothing really COVID related per se, except as it pertains to the rules, but watching my health go on this roller coaster for the past year, because in some ways, in some of the issues that I have, I'm in the minority. And so in the effort to protect the majority, it put me in a compromising situation that negatively affected my health. But I almost felt like I was in a position where I couldn't really say anything, because then you get attacked for saying anything. But until you're that person in that minority for that experience, whatever it may be, it's tough. And I think that in regards to the person that was supposed to get evicted, I almost can't blame them for capitalizing on the situation, because finding something else in this time, going out and exposing yourself to people in an effort to find something at this time, it's not practical, it's not realistic. And so I can't really fault people that tried to protect and cover themselves, because nobody knew what was going to come. But at the same time, yeah, I think there were a lot of people that were left behind or that weren't covered by certain things, and a lot of people whose health and wellness was compromised in the effort to protect the greater good, and they just didn't happen to fall into the group of what was the larger, greater good.
But what happens to the landlords? The landlords that where their tenants aren't paying, any kind of rent on the property, they're not getting reimbursed for that.
No, I get that. Yeah. I mean, in any case, that's what I'm saying, is somebody's getting screwed in some way. So even when you're trying to protect the majority, there are the people in the minority that are, in this case, the landlords in this situation. It sucks. And I think that this brings up another thing that was a conversation recently for me, was the idea of student loan forgiveness. And I know this isn't quite related, but it's kind of related, because we had a changing of presidents, and it was something that was talked about, and it's been something that's been more of a hot topic since we came into COVID. And somebody asked me if I support student loan forgiveness, and I 100% do not support student loan forgiveness, because I went to a private university, had to put myself through school, and I paid off my student loans, I think, 10 years early. And I had to work my butt off. And rather than get a car, rather than get a house, rather than get nice things, I paid off my student loans. And so if somebody was to come in now and forgive student loans, it would basically mean that I was being punished for being fiscally responsible, because I would still be paying my student loans.
I kind of agree with you and kind of don't agree with you. The way I look at it, because I the same way. I finally paid off my student loans about a year or so ago, so I was pretty excited about that. But the way I look at it is there should be, you should have to donate your time So you have to volunteer, I would say probably a year in some sort to volunteer to get loan forgiveness. And that'd be
do like that idea. I think it has to be longer though, because how long are we paying off student loans? It's like generally 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So if I'm paying something for 15 years, I want to see more than that. I want to see like, okay, hey, you go to school for 4 years. I want to see 4 years of volunteer work.
Well, I mean, I can see if you're volunteering while you're going to school or something like that. I'm thinking more so that because I really think that people that are lucky enough to travel inside the United States or even outside the United States, they learn more about who they are because they get out of their own comfort level, right? So I would almost put it that you would have to volunteer for a year, right? Either outside of your community, right? Or outside of the United States. And so you basically, it would almost push people to learn a little more about themselves, understand that just because maybe I don't like someone in Texas or the people in Texas or back east, whatever it might be, I'm being there for a year. I'm getting a close affiliation with those different kind of people. And now I realize that we're all kind of equal. I mean, it might be a way to like bring down hate a little bit and also help people to go to college. I mean, something like that. I think we're raising or we're pushing the children, I guess, or the younger people of the future to be more enlightened about other people, because most racism, fear, things like that come from the unknown.
If it was like a full-time thing, I think that would be pretty cool. Learning about other cultures or socioeconomic classes, things of that nature. I could definitely buy into that. But yeah, if they were to just wipe it away, my response would be, well, are you going to send me a refund then? Like, because basically I feel like if I hadn't been going above and beyond, I would still be paying it off and you'd be wiping something out for me still. So, you know, I choose what school we go to. We can say that we don't, but in a way we do. Maybe you only get into certain schools, but I chose to go to a private university. So I was responsible for paying for a private university. I knew what it was going to cost. I knew what my loans were going to be. I think what a lot of people don't understand is what they're going to have to pay back and how long it's going to take, especially on the job that they're going to get, or if they're going to get a job. And that topic kind of goes somewhere else, so maybe we can cover that another time. But yeah, I think that if there was an exchange of some sort, but just wiping stuff away, like the same thing with bankruptcy. If you're completely fiscally responsible, yeah, it'll wipe away your credit, but essentially it's like a get out of jail free card and you start over. And so somebody that's been fiscally responsible their whole life, lived very meagerly and not spent a lot on things, doesn't really have fancy things. I don't even want fancy things, but just it feels like you're being punished for being responsible in that case.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not, we're not saying children, kids, but I mean, if you're given something compared to earning something, you feel the difference of it. And in essence, if you're given the forgiveness of your student loans, I mean, do you really understand the value of what you're forgiven instead of basically working towards, okay, well, I had to do X, Y, and Z to get this forgiven. Right. I mean,
I agree with that. Maybe same situation for COVID and what we're doing there and the things going on there. It's okay. You can't work. Well, this will be subsidized, but maybe a system with a little bit more accountability, or
there's a lot of things you can still do like online. I mean, for example, if you're doing unemployment, right? What you have to do, and I have some relatives, and this is a long time ago, but I had some relatives that were doing unemployment, and they were kind of taking advantage of the system. And it's, from what I understand, they just have to be applying at places or have the person sign off that they applied at their place to work. Not necessarily trying to get the job. What?
You don't have to have anybody sign off. I know people. I know people that, as you and I talked about during COVID specifically, avoided looking for jobs because they were getting more money. And even before this, they didn't necessarily check, but especially now with the numbers, what they are, they don't check. You just go online and you certify something every other week that takes about 3 to 5 minutes to do, and you get your money into your account. It's as simple as that. And then there's extensions.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely the way that I think our systems are, it gives that divide, because I mean, if, like you said, right, if they did change where they gave forgiveness, right, to student loans, you would be angry. You'd be pissed off because you worked it, and just like I worked it, we worked off our student loans. While other people, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful, so thankful. But it's putting that divide in place, and I think that's the difficult part about our system that's currently in place. And we're getting a totally different high level, but yeah, I mean, I think should be some like drastic changes with that, and I don't think people should just be given stuff. I think they should earn it.
I think it is interconnected though, because I think the topic of student loans is going to be much more of a hot topic, considering the new administration, but also the fact that we're coming off of this period where so many people lost their jobs. And so when you have student loans, yeah, you can, I think, have them deferred for a period of time, but they're still collecting interest. And so I do sympathize and have a lot of empathy for people that are going through that. You lose your job, you have to defer it, and so you're still collecting interest, meaning you're not making any money, but you're going to owe more money. So I get the frustration there, and I think for that reason it is going to be a topic that is something that really weighs on a lot of people. And if you did go to a private university, costs of private universities are insane. I know that when I go back and lecture at LMU, they now say, last time I asked, it was like $65,000 a year to go there. So you're talking over $250,000. Do you know how long that takes to pay off if you're just getting out of college and getting a minimum wage or just above minimum wage paying job? Even if you're giving your entire check there, the numbers don't add up. So I think that they need to reevaluate the costs of education. And so I think that maybe there's another conversation that needs to be had there. But as somebody that had a lot to pay back and worked very hard to pay it off, because I understand the desire for freedom. I wanted my freedom too. And the truth is that I couldn't really start or be fully invested in my business or take a lot of chances in life until I bought that freedom by paying off the student loans. So I completely understand and I get that. So I think they need to reevaluate the costs of education and maybe come up with some options where, yeah, they could do the volunteer work and work it off. Because honestly, I would have much preferred that. I would have preferred to work my butt off for a year and live in a crappy situation to wipe away the slate clean and then have more time. So I think that that's a great idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else is going to come in place after COVID? I mean, we'll see. Are
you back in your gym?
No, I haven't gone there. I'm still doing home gym. I plan to do that probably the next couple of weeks, is to get back into the gym. I got to check too, 24-hour fitness. They said that I think my membership expired, but I mean, I paid it in advance. Like I did one of those, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I had it on month to month. Like the year. I don't know. I gotta look into it. But I know it stopped. So I'll look at that, and then I have Planet Fitness also. So, but yeah, I plan to probably start going back to the gym probably the next couple of weeks, and that's going to be the interesting thing is figuring out. Maybe buying a mask that's like a workout mask. Those something that makes it going to make it easier to work out with the mask on, because the mask that I currently have probably wouldn't be a good fit.
I feel like the mask definitely affects me at the gym working out, especially when I'm doing stuff that's getting my heart rate up a lot. Yeah. But I have to say that there was a period of a couple months, I think since basically November, December, where my strength went way down, my body composition went to crap, and I was wondering, what the hell's going on? Am I sick? I don't have COVID. What's going on? And the gyms opened a couple weeks ago, and I'm telling you, day one back at the indoor gym, it felt like my strength was back, whereas my strength was at like 60% when I was working out outdoors, and I didn't understand what was going on. But yeah, ever since they opened up back indoors, my strength is back, my body's coming back, everything's working again. And I think it really was the fact that we were having to work out outdoors in a non-temperature controlled environment. Now, I get that people do that, so but still, it's a very real thing, because I guess, and unbeknownst to me at the time, not being able to properly warm up my body, having it be very cold or very hot, or very cold to very hot, or very hot to very cold, very windy, working out at an angle because we're in a parking lot that's also on a slope, so you're working out on a curve. I guess all those variables made a difference, because it feels night and day different. So it really does make a difference. And even though some people will argue that it was necessary, not being able to manage my health in the ways that I have found that I need to is what sent me on a downward spiral that was very hard. Well, I say very hard, but is very hard to get out of because it's still been a roller coaster. And I feel like there's going to be some long-term ramifications of this past year, not only for myself, but for a lot of other people. And I'm already seeing the costs of other things going up too. I've been a member of the zoo for many years, and I got a notice the other day. And if I want to have essentially the same membership next year that I had this year, it's going to be almost double the cost. And for my gym membership, because you were just talking about that, I'm technically not supposed to be able to go to the gym that I go to now. The one that I did go to for 24-hour, it closed down permanently. Oh, wow. And so now I go to a different one. But it's technically one that has a spa, or not a spa, like a sauna and a pool and a basketball court. And I don't ever use those things, but it's a club that I'm technically not qualified for. And right now I have this ridiculous rate for the gym because I was grandfathered in. I pay like $49 a year. It's crazy, but it's great. And it's why I stay in San Diego because, hey, I have managed my finances intelligently. But when they change their policy, if I want to continue going to this one, it's going to be $30 a month or something like that. Maybe even more. I don't know. Maybe a little bit less. But if you just look at that, $30 a month, $360 a year versus $49. Big difference. And, you know, it's a couple $100, but in a time where we have to be frugal and conservative with our resources, those things can make a big difference. So when that's changing, when the Zoom memberships are changing, when all those things are changing, when food costs and gas costs are going up, we're getting into an interesting time because the rich were able to survive and sustain through this period, some of them profiting quite heavily, while the poor were kind of bottoming out. So I think that there's been a bigger divide than anybody really knows right now. And I think that we're going to continue to see that disparity grow.
Yeah, I could definitely, see something like that. I mean, I also too, I think with that, the people that are, I mean, maybe if they have apartment complexes or eateries, things like that, maybe that divide is not as drastic. But I guess the people on the bottom, that can get farther more drastic too, those workers. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see over how the next couple of weeks, couple of months. I mean, even as things open up, and I think we're going to see, especially with Padres baseball down in downtown San Diego, we'll start seeing more traffic down in San Diego. And I'm curious to see how that affects the community down there.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you guys for listening. I mean, I'm curious in your communities, what kind of measures are put into place right now for COVID, and how are you adapting to that? We'd love to hear your feedback. Please comment. Please reach out. My name is Vinnie, and my co-host over here,
Carini.
All right. Any last words, Mike?
Oh, I have so many words, but I'm still waking up, so we'll save them for next time.
All right, guys. See you later. On to the next one.